Hello, everyone. We're so excited to have you back. Welcome to the Exceptional Life Show. This is our first recording in 2021. We're so excited to have you back here with us. We haven't seen you since last year, so we're super excited to be here with you today. And just building up on our previous discussion, and my name is Rasha. I am the president and the managing partner of Exceptional Results Now, and I am here with the one and only master coach, Jason Safford. He is the founder of Exceptional Results Now, and he's the CEO and our coach and my friend and business partner. It's great to see you, Jason.
Great
And
to see you,
today,
Raksha.
yes. And today we're going to build up on where we left off last time, which is last time we talked about the mission statement and how important that is, and being able to identify with yourself in your business and how to approach your client, creating that right avatar and being able to speak directly to your client through the product and the service that you're offering. And today we're going to build up on that in speaking about the offer, the type of offer that we're going to share with the right avatar, and then also how to present it in a way that would make sense directly to them. So, Jason, if you don't mind taking it away from here.
Rasha, thank you. And always grateful for you. Happy 2021 and much success, abundance, and prosperity for us all.
Yes.
Um, this week is about your offer. And just to sort of recap on last week's show, we talked about really getting to know, who your ideal client is and understanding them. And, you know, that leads directly to what you're going to offer them because, when you're in front of your client, you really just get one opportunity to really pique their interest. And you got to kind of know in advance a little bit about what it is that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to offer them something that not only addresses what they're looking for, but really addresses the bigger picture in a way where, for them, they're saying, oh, you can do that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And they snap their fingers right away and they say that, I'm totally with that. So to put that into context, what we're saying here is that, as a business, it doesn't matter whether you're a coach, consultant, whether you're a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
real estate agent, personal trainer, you get in front of your ideal client and, you have to know what your ideal client. So let's take a restaurant, which is the easiest one, because obviously somebody comes in, what's their problem? They're hungry. And
Mm-hmm.
why did they come to this restaurant? Because they think that this particular restaurant has the right food that they're interested in. Now
Mm-hmm.
it might be an existing customer or it might be a new customer. Let's go with a new customer. And let's use an easy one, which is, an American style bistro. Okay, burgers, fries, shakes, grilled cheese sandwiches, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who comes in to this particular restaurant is more than likely somebody who likes burgers, fries, and shakes because that's what an American bistro would serve. Now, you have a menu of services, and when the person sits down, they can look at the individual items. But usually, you have these combination meals or some type of really good offer, and
Mm-hmm.
especially for lunch or dinner, you have these combination offers, something that really is attractive that the person says, yes, I want a burger with Swiss cheese and different
Mm-hmm.
toppings and a side of fries and a big milkshake, and it's going to give me this price for this particular package. That is what we call an offer. So we're not looking at the individual service. Yeah, you could get a burger by itself. But if you want to really solve the person's problem, which is to, satiate their hunger and make them leave your establishment feeling like, what? That was the best meal I've had in a long time. You have to come up with a really good offer. And the second part of this is that it's got to have value that makes the person feel like what they're getting for the value of the offer,
Mhm.
it really is a great deal. So, again, let's, go to the individual items of a burger. What does a burger cost? Now a burger is probably somewhere between 15 and 25, dollars at a regular bistro.
Mhm.
And, fries are probably another $5. And the shake is, let's say, $8 to $10. So round it all up, on the high end, and you're talking about a $40 meal uh,
Mhm.
individually. But when you create it as an offer, now you might discount it and say that, for $30, 25% off, you get everything all together rather than individually ordering these items.
Yep.
And that's going to get more people to take the combination and go with the bigger offer, which works for both the restaurant as well as the customer, because they're getting everything they want and they're getting what they feel is a better value deal
Mhm.
than if they were to, buy these individual
Okay.
items. Right.
Mhm.
And it's the thought
Mhm.
behind the establishment of, saying, hey, we know what our customers need, we know what our customers want, and we're going to give them a really good offer behind
Mhm.
it. So that is the simple idea of what an offer is. um,
Mhm.
However, when you get into different marketplaces, it gets a little bit more complicated. So, let's use real estate, because this is something where, I'm sure for a lot of realtors, they're like, well, wait a second, how do I make an offer, for someone because I'm listing their house, or I'm, helping
Mhm.
them to buy a house.
Mhm.
And, part of it is understanding the value of what you do in the total transaction. So, for some realtors, they're saying, hey, I just bring people together and, make a deal come together. It's like, that's great. You're a conduit. That's a wonderful thing. But if the truth is that you're the person going through each point of the whole transaction to make sure that everything is being pushed through properly, and you're calling up, well, you're really more of a process manager. And you
Mhm.
have to think of that in terms of how do you, create this offer for somebody, because they're paying you on commission for getting, a house bought or sold. Um, you have to think about all the things that you're doing and then say, okay, well, if I add this to what I do, and I add this to what I do, and I add this to what I do, and,
Mhm.
make it a very compelling offer in terms of saying, hey, you know what? You don't have a lawyer. I'm going to help you find a lawyer. You don't have
Mhm.
the appraiser. I'm going to help you find an appraiser. You don't have the title company. I'm going to help you find the title company. When you demonstrate that you not only understand the business, but you're willing to provide all of these additional services in your offer to try and get the business, because you're being paid on commission anyway, you can
Right.
make the greatest offer you want, as long as you get, the listing, and you're able to, come through with it. Your offer basically is, all of the things that you're going to do to assure the person that they're going to get the best deal for what,
Mhm.
what it is that they're trying to do.
Mhm.
So, so that is, an offer that, again, it's not as simple and as clear and concise as, a combo meal in a
Mhm.
restaurant, but it's something where you can put out your services, in such a way that somebody understands that I'm not just, listing a house, or I'm not just finding you a house. I'm doing all of these other things to make sure that your transaction goes through very clearly, very cleanly, very effectively. So that's a more, complicated way, offer that you have to build. But then there are the offers that have to do with, for example, a contractor or an architect in real estate and building, or a consultant, a business management company. And this is where a lot of people get lost, because they say, well, I'm, take a contractor and they're doing a renovation. They're saying, I'm only to make an offer based on the materials and my time, and I can't discount the materials so much. I can only discount my time, but if I discount my time, then I'm not making any money.
Mhm.
And the thing to think about here is it's not so much just in terms of discount value, but it's all the little extras that you could do that really don't discount your time. So here's what I'm saying. Let's say that, you do a kitchen renovation,
Mm-hmm.
and the average cost for a kitchen renovation is probably somewhere around $50,000. And you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to charge, the kitchen renovation. I'm going to say the cabinets, put in the cabinets are this much, put in the appliances are this much, to do the backsplash and, set the counters and all these different, details. This is what it comes up to. But here's what I'm going to add into it. I'm going to add in, bonus lighting, and I'm going to add in some, picture frames and some extra
Mm-hmm.
crown molding. I'm going to, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to add in all these little details that might, cost me a little bit extra in terms of materials and work. But the value that they create, somebody's looking at it and they're saying, oh, wait a second, I'm going to get a $75,000 kitchen for 50, $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is much more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So now what you're doing is you're looking at, the opportunity to invite somebody into your offer based on all the extras you're willing to give them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And additional to that is that, it could be very simple things. It could be that you throw into the offer that you're going to assess, the levelness of the floors, or, the structural, composition of the house for other things. Now, these aren't included in terms of that you're going to do anything structural or change
Right.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, as a part of this offer, I'm going to do these extra things to assess your house. And if there's extra work to be done, this is something that you can think about in the future, but now you know. And again, making yourself more valuable however you can, so that the person looks at the value of what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
as something that's far greater
Mm-hmm.
than, what it is that you're actually, asking from them in terms of compensation for that offer.
Mm-hmm.
And the other opportunity here, is to think about it in terms of, it's not so much that you're discounting, but you're trying to, do the value add, um, to make sure that the customer knows how much you appreciate the business.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the things that you might do may be small surprises. So what we're talking about is the fact that you um, do the work, and you got them in on a basic offer, but then you do extras without even them having to ask for it. And at the end, when they see what they really paid for compared to what they originally thought they were getting, it's something where now they really, can tell other people about what it is that, you're doing and why your offer is so good.
Mm-hmm.
So the other part of testimonials is the privilege of, well, the other part of offers is testimonials, which is the privilege of success.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things to think about is that when you make your offer, that you can put testimonials of people who have, accepted
Mm-hmm.
this offer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what the
Mm-hmm.
results were for them. And
Exactly.
that's a really important part of how you construct the offer and then back it up with, what we call social proof or testimonials. So
Mm-hmm.
so
And I
that
think
that's go ahead.
important. Oh, sorry. But I was saying that I think it's really important to keep in mind that it isn't just about what you're giving away for free. It's not. It's not so much just the bells and whistles around the free champagne. It's the idea of understanding who your client is, because you've taken the time to think through their experience and how you can improve their experience with them doing business with you. Whether it is the restaurant, so they're coming in hungry and they want their food a certain way, and you've created this entire meal around what they're going to have to drink with the food, what their sides dishes are going to be, what the appetizer would be that would be perfect with this meal, and what they're going to have for dessert. And you've created this entire scene for them so that they could have the greatest experience with you. And even with, if you are a real estate agent, just switching back to that business, you know that that is a high emotional buy. It's one of the biggest commitments someone is ever going to make. And it could be the largest number that they're going to see on paper. So it is very emotional for them. And by you having these steps that they need in order, because to you, it looks like an everyday purchase, but to them, this might be the only house that they're going to buy, or it could be an experience that they're going through for the second time and they didn't have the greatest experience the first time. So you making that process easier for them and creating an atmosphere of comfort and trust is not going to do anything but build that rapport with you, and then allowing them to just focus on being happy about the decision that they're making while you're getting everything that's needed in order, so that you're not losing them in the process and they're not backing out just because they're scared. And really just similar to like, regardless of the type of business that you're offering, just as you said, it isn't just about adding the frames because someone is redecorating, and or doing renovation, they're remodeling their kitchen. It's about the fact that you are taking the time to see what it is that they're going to need, but would help make this experience easier for that specific customer and for that specific service. And you've taken the time to add more value, so now they feel extra special because you went the extra mile doing things for them, and they're going to continue to come back and do business with you. At the end of the day, helping your client make the decision about doing business with you is all about the level of service that you are willing to offer and how much you're willing to give, of what you're doing. And it's not about the free stuff. It's just really about, again, like thinking about what it is that your client need, and making sure that you have and you're meeting those needs right back. And that's how you'll continue to expand and get more clients, because that type of reputation, and them talking about you to their friends, and those testimonials are going to go a long way.
Yeah, yeah. And Rasha, you mentioned something that I think is really very important for our listeners to note and recognize, which is that when you are creating an offer, uh, you absolutely don't want to, give stuff away and say free.
Right.
You want to add things in, and you want to put values on them, and you want to show what the value of this is, so the person really understands. No, this is not free. This is a value that you are getting, and we're not charging you the full value of this because we want to make a great offer for you. Now, that being said, I don't think that um, anybody should be putting together an offer where they're adding lots of things for free, quote unquote. That's never what I meant. What I meant was that you figure out what your cost is, and if there are things that you can add to that budget and it doesn't cost a lot. Yes, it might shave 1% or 2% from your bottom line profit, but it's something where doing these extra details is something that could be part of the job. And, rather than it being sort of like, oh, you can add this for an extra 500 and you can add this for that, you put it in there and you say, we're going to add all of these things, and they may be an extra $5,000 worth of, service, but, we're going to figure out how to work with your budget. So maybe we
Mhm.
only charge you 1 or 2,000, whatever it is, just a material cost, and you figure it out in terms of, what it does actually cost you. So we're not saying, oh, add these 5 things and say these are free bonuses. What we're saying is, no, you can change the value of the offer. In other words,
Right.
you're putting it together, and for everything you add, you look at the whole thing and then you discount it to what you think that you need to cover your cost, so
Hmm.
that they can say, rather than me trying to pick every individual item from your menu, yeah, I'm just going to take this offer. This
Mm-hmm.
offer is far better. And although my budget is XYZ, for example, going back to the kitchen, let's say that the person's budget is exactly 50,000 and you
Mm-hmm.
give them an offer for a $75,000 kitchen and you charge them 57,500. Okay. Now they might look at it and they'd be like, oh man, my budget is only 50,000, but they want that offer so bad. You can literally say, hey, listen, we can take some things out. And, again, we can, try and make it work for your budget, but if you're willing to come up to this, point to 57,500, is there anything else that you would want in this offer that would, motivate you to come up to 57,500?
Right.
And the person might be like, you know what, if you add, an additional light or something else, it's like done, let's make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to really think about in terms of the offer isn't to, give away anything for free. The offer is to add as much value as you can for the most reasonable price that you can, offer to the customer, because you also have to know what their price range is, whether or not they can afford a certain amount of service. Because if you go to your ideal customer, well, obviously, they wouldn't be your ideal customer. I'm sorry, but if you're in front of somebody and you're offering them a $50,000 service, and they're like, my budget's only 20,000,
Mm-hmm.
that's a $30,000
Right.
difference.
Right.
Were they really your right customer, or were you really just not thinking about what your customer needed? It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
two things there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very important part of the offer. The other thing that I want to mention, though, which is also something that people often don't think about, because in modern day, it's so much about, you got to have everything right now. Very few people think anymore about payment plans and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that, you can create agreements with somebody and, you can do a payment plan or, find some way to, make it more flexible for the person. Now, in some cases, this may not work. Obviously going back to the restaurant, it's not, I'm going to pay, half now, pay later. No, you
Right.
come to the restaurant, you get the food, you eat it, you pay. And, that's kind of straightforward. But with other services, obviously coming up with a payment schedule, like a kitchen renovation,
Yeah.
is something that makes an offer even more attractive. Because for a lot of contractors, it's just 50 up front and 50 on delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And the customer may look at that as, I'm giving you 50% to trust you to do exactly what I want. And then I got to give you the other 50%,
Mm-hmm.
whether I like it or not at
Mm-hmm.
the end. And it's like, I don't know if this is really, because if you can make adjustments during milestones, that might be something that's very attractive to the customer. And so that, can really influence a customer's, choice with you. Because if you say, hey, listen, we have flexible payment terms, and, what we like to do is we like to take a certain amount, upfront to get the, project started, let's say 20 or 30%. And then based on each milestone, it's another, 15 or 20% for each milestone till completion, so that way you have a level of comfort and we have a level of comfort that, we know we're going in the right direction together to get this job finished. That might completely change a customer's, focus on whether or not that extra money is really, doable or not, because they might be saying, no, I have, X number of dollars in the bank now, but if it's a payment plan, and they know more money is coming in over the next several, weeks, months, whatever it is, they might be able to say, oh, well, you know what, I have more money coming in the next month. And, at the end of this, I know I'll have something else coming in. And yeah, I can figure out how to do this. And if it's something that they really want, obviously you've just made it more achievable for them to reach their goal. So that is the other side of what an offer is that your goal is to really help your customer reach their goal. And that's the idea behind it. A nice thing about the offer is that you could put the word signature in front of it. because you could
Mhm.
have lots of different officers. Excuse me, you can have lots of different offers. And the beauty of creating sort of a quote unquote signature offer or an exclusive offer, something that distinguishes this particular package, that also makes the customer feel like, hey, you're thinking about me.
Right.
We're trying to come up with something specifically to solve my problem in a
Yes.
way that, makes me feel like not only is it going to be solved, but I'm not going to have to overcome a major obstacle in my own life in order
Yeah.
to get what I want.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so that's how you have to think about an offer, is that again, it is for your customer. You have to know your customer really well, understand what makes them tick, what they're really interested in, so that, not only do they snap their fingers, but it's a can't refuse situation where they don't even want to look at the menu. And then,
Mhm.
think about it from the standpoint now, they're becoming an advocate for you because of this wonderful
Yeah.
experience. And
Loyal.
right, and instead of you having to sell a whole menu of services to the next person, you can literally say, "Well, here's the offer I made to the XYZ. This is
Right.
what I can do for you." And now you can tweak it based on the individual customer that comes to you by saying, "Okay, look, this was the circumstance with, people in the past. You have a different circumstance. We can customize this offer. You give me, the budget that you're working with." Now it becomes a conversation about money, not in terms of, how much is it, but how much can we do? How possible, what are the possibilities that we can do together,
Mhm.
through this offer, and how can we create something special together?
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. See, that is perfect. And now at that point, it's no longer a sale. You've just built a rapport, you established a relationship. They're definitely coming back. I mean, and if you think, for example, oh, a real estate agent, well, I'm not going to be selling these people a house every week, but they will refer everyone they know because they're going to tell everyone about how much of a great experience that they've had with you. And everyone that they know is going to come to you just based on that experience. Same thing with maybe a renovation within your home. If they've had a good experience with you, they're going to tell their friends about you. And regardless of how the size of the job, they're going to continue to do business with you because you didn't just make a sale, you established a relationship and then you gave them an experience. It was an experience that they've had with you through the service that you were able to provide because you made it so personal. And they didn't you made it so easy for them that it didn't even feel like that there was any kind of pressure. They were so happy to give their money to you, and that's the type of customer that you want, and those are the type of experiences anyone that's making a purchase is looking for. So thank
Yeah.
you for finding that, Jason.
You're absolutely welcome. And the final point that I want to make for our listeners is to understand that the other part, of creating an offer, is validation for yourself. Because when you create an offer, rather than it just being a line item service, not only are you putting thought into something, but now when the person questions you on price, you can
Hmm.
really show them, hey, listen, I don't have to give you
Hmm.
this offer. The
Hmm.
truth is that every one of these services individually is worth well more than what I'm
Hmm.
offering it to you for.
Hmm.
And that's where, the word discount comes in, because now you get to, sort of show the person, look, this has been discounted already because
Hmm.
I'm trying to solve your problem for
Hmm.
the very best offer that I think will make you want my services in my business. But the
Hmm.
truth is that if somebody then tries to negotiate down on your offer, this
Hmm.
is where you have to get the ability to stand firm, because you can say, well, what's the problem with the price? And if they say,
Hmm.
well, I think it's like, okay, let's look at the list of services that I'm providing here. And each one of them is worth significantly more than what I'm charging you.
Hmm.
And if the problem is that, you don't feel that I'm worth that, that
Mm-hmm.
we have a bigger problem because,
Right.
maybe you're not the right customer for me because you don't think that I'm worth, the service that I'm providing to you.
Yes.
And that tells me that you're not going to be happy at the end with my work anyway. So maybe I need to go find somebody who's going to appreciate my work.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. That is so important because it is never about devaluing the service that you are giving or your product that you've created. And at the end of the day, if you're not being generous with yourself, you're definitely not going to be generous with your customers. So it's really, really important that you understand what you're worth. The ability for you to create an experience for your client does not mean that you're at any shape or form devaluing the service or the product that you're offering. It just means that you want to give them an experience. So you created this entire thing around what it is that they need to meet their needs, but you're definitely not taking away from your value or your worth. So thank you. That's an excellent point. Thank you for bringing that out, Jason.
You're very welcome, Rasha. And yeah, so I'll end on the note that again, your offer is, really the hook to, be able to do business, but it's also, a conversation, a opportunity to negotiate, more or less, in terms of what it is that your customer may need or want.
Hmm.
But think of it as the most important starting point to really, being able to not only do business with somebody, but recognize whether or not they're the right person for you to do business with.
Yeah.
Because,
Yes.
that is the beauty of an offer, is that it does require thought. It does require a level of responsibility and skill to assemble something together that you think the customer wants and, is willing to pay for. And if
Mhm.
somebody, comes in, it'd be the same thing as somebody coming into a restaurant and saying, that $30 meal, how about if I pay you $15 for it? Is the
Yeah.
restaurant
Right.
gonna say yes? No.
Kind of.
They're
Right.
not gonna, do anybody any favors. It's like, look, it's $30, meal. You have $30, you can pay for it. You don't have $30, find something that fits your budget.
Mm.
And now, yeah, you're paying for a line item that's going to be significantly, higher priced, and not as much quote unquote value to you. But if that's what you have, that's what you have to accept. So that's the beauty of having a
Mm.
signature offer, is that you get to have that conversation. And if somebody says, well, you know what, I just don't have the budget for that right now, then you can
Mm.
say, okay, well, what do you want to do?
Mhm.
And if they say, well, I want your offer, but I don't have the money for it, it's like, well, okay, we have a divide here. And the bridge to that divide is either we have to offer you less services to meet your budget, or you have to come up to meet the requirements for us to be able to offer all these services. So that's, and then there's always middle ground, and then
Mhm.
that's where the payment plans come in and everything else. So that's why, I want our listeners to understand that an offer is all encompassing of all of these things, giving
Mhm.
it to the customer as sort of like, look, here's a deal. If you like this deal, great. If you don't like this deal, let's talk about something else, and figure
Mhm.
something else out. But at least here's a deal. Let me know what
Mhm.
you think about it. And
Mhm.
and what your goal is for them to be like, that's a really impressive deal.
Right. Right.
So
And even if they don't think so, it's oftentimes not anything that has to do with who you are or the product that you're offering. It's really important to ask the right questions so that you understand what the hesitation is. Oftentimes it could be that they love your product, but it could be just like their budget, or they're not 100% sure how to come up with it. So, as you've mentioned, Jason, if you have other options for them already lined up, maybe a payment plan, or the opportunity for them maybe to finance, if you've partnered up with a third party so that they can finance it, they can still use your service. That makes it a lot easier for them.
right.
So it's also important to just be prepared, and understand, okay, well, what questions would I ask so I can get more information and find out what the hesitation really is. Is it my product? Am I Am I offering something that maybe that they don't need, or do they need more? Do they need less? Or is it just a matter of coming up with a budget? And sometimes, especially in the days that we live in right now, people are going to need assistance at times with maybe something big that they're doing or a big step that they're taking. So it's important to have those lined up, so that now you're really offering a complete experience, and they can continue to do business with you. So thank you for that, Jason.
You're very welcome, Rasha. And thank you.
We appreciate you joining in with us today. This was our first episode in 2021, and we look forward to doing this with you on a weekly basis, being here present with us at the Exceptional Life Show. And next week, same time, that we're going to meet up again here with you for to just ensure that we are doing our part in aligning people, planet, for profit and purpose. Thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.